Okay, welcome everybody to Open Hour, Community Open Hour of the SALT Project. I am your host, Janae Andrus. I'm the SALT Project Community Manager, and it is not June 17th. It is June 24th. So I can do slides. It's great. So don't be confused. It's June 24th. And I feel like it's a rule that I have to make one slide mistake a week. So it's done now. The rest of the slides are going to be perfect.
It's actually a contest. You might win something.
Right? Okay. So what doesn't have mistakes, oh, that's probably not true either, is saltproject.io. That's where, that is our ultimate source of truth. If you want to dig more into SALT Project, saltproject.io is where it's at. And if you want to reach out to us, we are at saltproject@vmware.com. So you can email us anytime. That email goes to several of us in the SALT Project leadership. And we would love to hear from you if you have questions, if you want to be connected to one of our engineers, if you want to have a certain topic addressed at Open Hour, if there's even a feature you would like demoed, we are here for you. Open Hour is all about you. So we're happy to do those things, to add agenda items that cater to you. Just reach out to us. We're also, so we're going to go over some general updates. We're going to talk about SaltConf, working groups, and then we'll hit some release updates and release timeline with Sage. And then the time will be yours. So if you have any questions, queue them up now. We're excited to hear them. We're not only on saltproject.io, we are everywhere. So we're on YouTube. Our YouTube channel has all kinds of stuff. It's got our playlists, so you can check out working groups that you missed. You can check out virtual meetups that you missed. You can watch old open hours. You might be watching this on a YouTube playlist right now. There's all kinds of stuff there. And of course, Salt Air is there as well. Salt Air is our video series that airs every week, and it is Tom and I getting granular on salt. To be more specific, it's Tom getting granular on salt and me interrogating him. And we are also on GitHub. We are on Slack. We stream through Twitch. We have a subreddit. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Come and find us and be part of the fun. We've become very active on social media. That's been rocking and rolling. So keep an eye on our channels and our profiles, and wherever the places are, we're there. Come engage with us. Okay, so a few general updates. Virtual meetups. Our June virtual meetups were really cool. We do our meetups the third Wednesday of the month at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. And in June, we did a really cool behind the scenes of the hacks with Tom and Chunga, who are the co-hosts of the tech podcast that is actually also funny. So check that out. I feel like Chunga super overshared about Tom. So if you want to find out what that was all about, you can go check out the virtual meetup. It is posted. It's on YouTube under the virtual meetups playlist. So that was a good time. And we also had a meetup in June that was in the Singapore time zone because we expanded into the APJ region. So we did a really cool thing where Tom did a config management presentation, and he did a live demo, and it was actually really good because he ran into an issue that he had to kind of live solve, and we had a ton of people come to that meetup. So that's also posted if you want to go check that out. Again, it's under the virtual meetups playlist on YouTube. And of course, we will continue our cadence with our third Wednesday at 5 p.m. meetups. So we'll have one on July 21st. So keep an eye on your calendar, and we'll keep you posted on that one. And of course, we have a few things left at store.saltstack.com. It is really whittling down. I think I've made this announcement for several months now, and I have maybe one more month of saying this too. So grab it while you can. The SaltStack swag is when it's gone, it's gone. So we do have a couple of things that we have tons and tons of. The keyboard brushes and screen cleaners that say SaltStack. You see a little white one down there. We have them in gray still. And we're actually going to be giving those out to some of the people who register for SaltConf. So we'll have a little like SaltStack former logo throwback in a conference box that we're doing. So you heard it here first. People who register early for SaltConf, and we're not actually really officially announcing this until like August. But yeah, keep an eye on SaltConf registration because you can get some sweet swag just for being an early registrant in August. So that's your little teaser about SaltConf. But yeah, go grab the stuff while you can. These posters especially, like we're not going to be able to reprint them ever. So okay, speaking of SaltConf, SaltConf 21 is virtual. It's November 3rd and 4th. We're so pumped. The theme is bigger, better, faster, stronger. So if SALT has made anything in your life bigger, better, faster, or stronger, if you have a really cool use case or thing you can share with us, we want to hear about it. Our call for speakers is open right now. So go to saltconf.com and tell us your story. So if you feel like maybe it's not as developed as you would like it to be, just tell us anyway. Tell us that, put it in there. We are giving preference to community member content. So we really want this conference to be driven by the community. So whatever you can get us, we want to hear from you. So reach out. We can always get creative. We can pair you with someone else. If you say, look, I don't have, a full presentation, but I've got like 15 minutes that I can share this use case, we can either help you expand it to be a longer presentation, or we can pair you with someone else to tag team a full presentation. There's a lot of things we can do. We're not doing that for everybody, but if you are a member of our SALT community, we really want to highlight you. So give us a chance to do that and we can work together. So fill out that call for speakers. Don't feel like when you go to saltconf.com and you click that submit proposal button, don't feel like you can't click the button until you're ready to submit all your stuff. By clicking the button, it'll take you to a form that has a lot of information about what we're looking for and how to submit it and the guidelines. So if you have questions, just go click that button and read through that. So if anyone has any questions at all, and you can always reach out to us at saltproject@vmware.com as well, or hit us up on Slack. So, okay, call for speakers. Can't wait to hear from you guys. Okay, working groups. I believe this last week we had formulas and docs, and we have some news. So the first week of the month, which will be not next week, but the following week. July is weird because the first 2 days in July are just like Thursday, Friday. So I don't know how to call that the first week of July. So we'll see, maybe it'll be next week. I don't know. So the first Thursday in July, I guess that's next week, July 1st. We will be doing a check-in with our captains. So working group captains will have an opportunity to kind of sound off and let us know what's been going on that month in their working group. Let us know anything they need, any blockers they have, any successes they've had, to just kind of check in real quick. It doesn't have to be a formal thing. You don't have to make slides or anything, but they certainly can if they want to. But we'll just kind of have a quick check-in with each captain. It won't be anything as robust as what we did in our virtual meetup for, I believe it was May, when all of the working group captains told us what they've been up to, and that was awesome. That's also on our virtual meetup playlist. This will be just an opportunity for them to check in and let us know what's going on. So if you're a working group captain, get excited. And if you're not a working group captain, get even more excited because you don't have to present and you get to listen to some awesome people tell us what they're doing. So we're looking forward to that. And I think that will be a great way to, because we do check in with our captains sometimes, but not as regularly as we'd like to. And we want to do it this way to really increase visibility and make sure everyone knows what's going on in our working groups and make sure the captains really feel like we're in a more regular cadence with checking in and getting all their needs met, because we obviously very much value and support our working groups. They're very important. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over to Sage, our release manager, for the release updates.
Yeah, so silicone release dates. I still don't have the slide together that shows you the timeline. Like I said, I completely messed up that formatting, and yeah, it's still not fixed. I had some other things come up today and had planned to do it this morning and didn't get to that. But here are the dates. This is still what we're shooting for. No changes here. We are looking to get things that are in the milestone in GitHub that are not assigned. Those are our stretch goals. We're looking for people to pick those up within the community. And of course, if core team members or other people can have time to do those and want to submit PRs against them and link them, that's great. That's what we're looking for and looking for help there so that we can attempt to get that, get those all done. Next slide. Yesterday we had the point release, woohoo, and that went out smoothly. Something I did not put on the blog post, which did go out just a little bit later, and maybe I'll update the blog post that we did do the process memory leak fix in this release. We held up this release so that we could get that fix that is in there, that's in the change log, although it's brief. And so we should probably highlight it. Probably the best place to do that is in the blog post. I didn't think about that and before, and we've kind of had a little bit of change in process in the blog post. And so I was like, oh, right, I should have done that. Didn't think about it. So, but I can go back and correct and we can fit that in there. And so it's great news. The team worked really hard on that to make sure that we were meeting the needs of the community, and we were making sure that we were fixing something as critical as that leak. And so that is fantastic. Way to go, team. Yay. Any questions, team or community members? You guys are part of the team, you know.
You know, I woke up yesterday and I immediately, Sage wanted to send you that GIF from Frozen when Anna wakes up and she's like, it's Coronation Day, but I wanted to edit it to say it's release day, but
it's released.
I don't know how to edit GIFs, so I did.
Oh no, you could have just sent it. It would have been fine.
I also said it. You'd be like, what? Coronation Day? I'd be like, just roll with it, Sage. Roll it.
I totally would have gotten it. I would have laughed. I love it.
As it was, I think I just messaged you and was like, happy release day.
Yeah, and I was like, cool. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and I think that we have other things out on the calendar for some other releases, and I'll get those in the slide deck so that we can also see them here and just sort of display them, maybe even put them on our timeline somehow. Sometimes the timeline gets so long, I don't know how to put it in one slide, but you know, maybe we'll think about it. I think we still don't have in here the SEPs, but really
I almost put them
quickly
in because they were in the deck from 2 weeks ago, and I was gonna copy them over, and then you said you were a maybe on being an open hour, and I was like, I'm tired. That's
no worries. No worries. So just really quickly, we'd to go over some frequently asked questions of the SEPs. I put this in the slides and we'll put them in back in. And Janae, it will be real easy. You can just read these next time. It's like there's 5 core team members need approval to be accepted. Timeframes are a little bit subjective, and what we are looking for is rough consensus so that it is not a final implementation plan, but a really good idea of what to go forward with an implementation plan. And then either epics or several issues or even one issue, depending on the SEP, and pull requests, we can get those linked back to the SEPs so that you can see what that final implementation plan is. And cool, here we go. Nice. And then here are some of the SEPs. I think I need to update this table, but this gives you a good idea. We do have some sort of new-ish ones, and a couple that we need to go back and really finalize on. The run Saltmaster as non-root user. I believe that a working group is actually going to take up some of the open questions before we want to see that move into acceptance. And it seems like Wayne and I talked about that, and it might be the testing group. Although that seems strange, because it seems like we talked about it in the security group, and then we wanted to hear from testing and then also from Mac and Windows. Is that right? Do I have that right?
Maybe it's a cross-functional.
I think it's cross-functional. Yeah. And so we did security, and then I think we're moving through the others just to kind of get that well-rounded, but it's failing me exactly how we're doing it. But we're moving through that, definitely trying to move that through. The on changes state requisite, we actually withdrew that one, and Gareth wanted to rewrite it. So I've just left that on there, that's still coming once we find some time. That's a little bit elusive time. And of course, the file protocol listing details and a draft of the add sub state return. Add runtime registers to salt, package salt with Tiamat is still got a few things open on it, but should be wrapping up pretty soon. Of course, the inclusive language, proposed changes to the package beacon, and event-driven state enforcer is new-ish, and master key rotation for disconnected minions is new-ish, and re-adding the 0.0 back to the major salt versions and releases is newer. I've made a few updates to some of these newer ones. I did spend a little bit of time on this. With one of them, some of the comments that came up, and we did write it this way originally for adding the 0.0 back to major salt versions. This isn't necessarily to go back. It was to propose the question as an open question that if we should. And I don't know that we should. That is, so I rewrote that to be like, I don't think that that's helpful to do re-releases there. But had it as an open-ended question, and now we've just said, no, we believe going forward that the idea is to take the SEP and say, no, we didn't do this way, and we want to change what we're doing, and here's how we're going to change that, so that we have sort of that record of rough consensus and implementation going forward, and thus a communication plan and implementation plan for forward movement. And it does have work with it, so that's fun.
So fun.
So fun.
Okay. See how I found I think just throw this light up. Ready, go.
Yay!
We made it work. Okay. And then I have one other thing. I can close this, but so SaltConf. We have a couple of needs, if you will, for SaltConf. So if anybody would like to be involved as potentially a moderator of some of the talks, reach out to me sometime in the next 2 weeks, because I am teasing that out who we can put in those spots. And we'd like to consider, having some community people maybe do that if you're interested. So it would take up a solid chunk of your time in October, as well as you being completely available on November 3rd and 4th. We obviously don't want to inhibit anybody from being able to be an attendee and enjoy that. So keep that in mind. If you're really looking forward to, excuse me, consuming the content, being a moderator is probably not a great idea, because this will take up your focus. But if it's something you're interested in doing, you've wanted to maybe be involved in virtual events, you'd like to be maybe more internally involved with SaltConf, please reach out to me. Again, saltproject@vmware.com in the next couple of weeks, and we'll talk about potentially plugging you in as a moderator. So just wanted to put that little plug out there, if that happens to fit anybody. But it would take, you'd need to attend a couple of trainings in early October and do some dry runs with the speakers you're assigned to in late October, and then be fully present at the conference. So that is the commitment. And if you're interested, if you want to talk about it more, again, reach out to me, saltproject@vmware.com. So, so I believe the time is yours. If anyone has questions, comments, or things they'd like to share. I noticed Wayne turned his video on. He's like, oh, Janae's gonna make me do it.
Wayne's like, video.
Right. He's ready to save her life.
That's right. We so recently is a relative term, gonna use it anyway. the community, what is Jonas's title? Community manager of
He's
open
not a
source for
manager.
VMware? Director? I don't know what his title
He's
is.
a-
Something. I don't know what his title is.
Rebecca.
But he is over a lot of the open source projects for VMware, and we know him. We've worked with him. In fact, some of the people from the core team, I think Gareth knew him before from open source, and very active in the community in general. I think inside and outside of work, which is really great. He actually took what we did with the Docs Jam recently and made a documentation working group for another open source project with some of the stuff that we did in a collaboration. And it
He's
made
the
me really,
head. Or he's the head of community management.
there we go. I was like, I don't know what his title is. Something like over everything, whatever.
For
that is.
everything.
Head.
His
Yeah.
title is awesome.
And
Pretty
I thought
awesome.
that was really great. But it made me think also about that we not only need to get them on the calendar for the testing jam for the ports to master, which I am still looking at a date for that. I've narrowed it down a little bit, and then want to make sure that I'm not butting into anything with SaltConf. And so I wanted to kind of let that flesh out just a little bit and make sure that we're not like impeding anything, because that would be a mistake, as well as just the rest of the calendar, right? Holidays all over the world and everything else, but also taking what we did there and maybe even putting that into our working groups. And we did a very full-fledged, it was 2 or 3 pages of sort of, this is the work that we want to get done. These are the goals. And then here's like what we expect will happen, how we expect work to get done, and then the reward after. And looking to do a modified version of that for a lot of our working groups. I think that we have a really good base there, and going to put that in place. That'll put in place some things that I think we were missing in the project charters that we could just add and just modify the project charters to have some of this. But thinking this might even be more like a contributing guide to the working groups. So it'd be just an expansion. The charter would be like a quick, here's sort of the information of what we do and who we are. And then this would be more like, this is how you can contribute to the working group and kind of the expectations of the work. And we have just a good set for that. So I think that's going to be a good addition to all our working groups.
Well covered. Like gonna add to it, and then you said, I was like, perfect, it's beautiful.
Thanks, Janae. Yay. Sometimes Janae and I get off of the open hour and we're like, it's the Sage and Janae show, if you didn't know. That's what we do.
Last week especially, I felt like we were like really high energy and everyone else was quiet. I am not high energy today, but I'm
Should subtitle the the Salt Project Open Hour, the Janae and Sage show.
Sage show. Da, da, da. That's right. If you can find all of the Easter eggs in the slides, you win something.
fact.
Stickers or something. It would be fantastic.
Is
Love
it
that
totally
idea.
nerdy that I'm gonna tell a couple of my friends to find the Easter eggs in my wedding coming up? Oh, spoiler alert! One of
I
them
love
that, like,
this.
we're playing a song while we cut the cake. It's a cake song. Like we're just playing one of Cake's songs. I'm just gonna see if anyone notices.
So I went to a wedding once where instead of like signing a book, or I did a picture frame where people signed the mat board. So it's just a little picture in a big frame instead of a book. But I did go to one where they did Mad Libs. And so to sign into the wedding, you had to fill out a Mad Lib.
Nice.
That was awesome. It's like, yes, let's not take this too seriously.
That's pretty great.
We're doing like a
Wasn't
photo
gonna last
booth thing.
anyways.
What, Shane?
Oh, Shane.
I said it probably wasn't gonna last anyway.
The Mad Lib? I don't know. Mad Libs are pretty enduring.
I love Mad Libs.
Me too.
I will say, I think the guest book is one of the dumbest traditions. It's like, put your name in this book in handwriting I can't read. Or, I'm gonna put it in my attic. Like,
Right. And so
right?
I thought it was a really good idea. I saw somebody else that did this picture frame and I thought, oh, that's a really great idea. But of course there was alcohol at my wedding. So that picture frame doesn't stay up because it's a disaster from, signing. I'm like, yeah, that was a dumb
Drawing
idea.
things on there.
They're
Mad Libs
supposed
is
to
a
sign
great
it as they
idea.
come in, Sage.
Well, they were. That didn't exactly.
Circle back.
Yeah, there were some other things that happened. You know, it was a small wedding.
That's awesome.
It happens. It's supposed to be fun, but I still don't hang it up. No, Mad Libs I might actually display. We should
Mad Libs
have
is awesome.
salty Mad Libs at SaltConf.
Dude.
Waiting for, you know, your
That would be pretty amazing.
I
Some
actually have a salt comp question.
deploying stuff and masters and minions and
I love it.
doing other sysops and DevOps deals. Yeah, I bet we could come up with some pretty hilarious scenarios. Of course, it's always DNS, but
It's true.
Cody said these open hour topics are really open. You know what,
They
Cody?
are.
Like, if you want to share your thoughts on weddings and Mad Libs, we are available.
No.
We are. In fact, maybe we should even, we need to have some way for people to submit some Mad Libs for SaltConf. Needs to happen. So submit yours to saltproject@vmware.com. We will take them. There might be prices.
I might be writing this down. Actually, I have a question, and I actually really need input. So, you know, even if I just raise hands or something, we're kind of debating right now doing so last year at SaltConf, we did a swag booth, and it was really fun. You know, people came in and they got like a $20 certificate for the store. But the swag booth ended up being the social booth. And we've thought about doing a social track. So like if maybe there's not another track you want to join for that particular slot, you could jump into the social track and meet people. And I'm debating between a social track or a social booth. What sounds more interesting to you guys? I know you, without understanding maybe the full format, but for those of you who were at SaltConf last year, you kind of get the format. Any initial thoughts on if you'd prefer to have kind of a thematic social track where it's like, oh, we're gonna like all share pictures of our pets, or oh, we're gonna like do a cocktail hour, or we're gonna, you know, whatever? Or would you prefer to just have like a booth you can hop over to chit chat and see what people are chatting about?
I would say my initial reaction would be both. Something where it's like you have kind of like a gathering at the end or kind of midway through for like anyone and everyone to attend. One of the things that PyCon had done this year that I thought was really good, considering everyone was remote, they had a bunch of different rooms of varying sizes. Like some had, I think it was up to like 10 people, some had 4, some had 2. So you like, depending on like your level of comfort for social interaction, you could jump into a room of varying size and just have conversations. And they limited it. I don't know if this is possible with the platform that we're going to be using, but they limited the number of time, the amount of time that you could stay in a particular room. That way, like you weren't just like camping in a room the whole time and holding a spot, which was initially annoying. But like once you kind of realize why they did it, it was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, but booted everybody out every, I think it was like 50 minutes or something, which was, yeah, actually worked out really well because forced you to go socialize with other people.
That is
Right.
cool.
I want to know if we could do the conference style like the one that Gareth had to attend when he was doing the virtual conference stuff.
Oh yes,
Oh,
please.
Bubble one?
The blocky 80s, 90s, early 90s VR-ish thing. Yeah, let's do that. That was awesome.
I will forever be fascinated by that. That's just, yeah. It's amazing.
I will be forever haunted by that. So it's a win-win.
So Gareth and Cody need to have like a nightmare exchange dream journal session apparently over this conference.
If you've never heard Gareth describe that, you need to take some time someday.
It's actually going to be my, I'm going to submit it as a SaltConf talk.
There you go.
I was going to suggest that.
That's awesome.
Yes, it'd be a conference talk / Gareth therapy session.
Nice. That actually reminds me of another thing, if anyone has like a blog they'd like to write, and we'd be happy to feature community member blogs on our SALT project blog. So we're always looking for content. You can, again, reach out to us at saltproject@vmware.com if you want to write a blog. I mean, you know, about Gareth's weird experience or about something like thought leadership, industry relevant, a use case with SALT in particular is what we're excited about hearing. If you're going about your day and you're like, oh man, SALT totally solved this problem for me, this is awesome, you know, write 500 words about it and shoot it over to me and we'll get it out there. It's a great way to highlight yourself as a thought leader in the industry. It's a great way to, you know, just get yourself out there a little bit. We'd be happy to help you build up your persona and expertise in the industry and putting it out there. It's a win-win because we get content and you get accolades. So, I mean, what's more prominent than being a blog writer for a SALT project, right? So we are happy to take blog content. Cody says his persona needs no building. I mean, I won't fight you, Cody.
That's true. That's true.
Is there a cash check?
I mean, no. It's even better. I have no idea. I'm not going to try to sell that. The cash money. You just get the pride. You get to brag. At Thanksgiving, you'll have something to tell your parents that you did well that year. Say, I was in the SALT project blog.
I think we should make a limited run t-shirt that says, you know, I wrote a blog post for SALT and all I got was this stupid t-shirt.
Yeah, our captains, I think it's a good way. We have some captains where the US timeframe doesn't always work. And that's totally okay. We want to still be global. And so maybe a blog about where you guys are today in your working group and what's going on and things that have happened and progress that you've made would be a good topic as well. So there's some things that probably need to be like in SALT documentation as examples, but this is more like, tell us your story, tell us your narrative. We want to hear about like how you got there. We want to hear about like the oh, here was my problem statement, and this is how this is what we decided we were going to do, and how we got to that decision to solve it, and that type of narrative that we're kind of looking for. But it can be short, like 400 words, like short.
Anything from like 400 to 800 words. Yeah,
short.
Put it in a Word document, shoot it over to me. Please don't send me a markdown file. I just don't want it.
We can help her with that if you really have to do it, but you know, we'd like to have it in Word. Or like
well, it's not even me.
doc.
It's that because when I get the markdown file and I send it to our team that posts the blogs, it breaks their souls and then I have to deal with it. That's why I don't like them.
we can help you with that though. We can help.
It's not a big deal. I then have to take 10 minutes to then put it into a different format for them. And I'm so busy. Just kidding. Send it however you want. We'll take it. It's fine.
We'll take it. We'll do it. We'll figure it out. We even have some ways to convert it for you.
I'll give it to Sage.
We could even, if we wanted to, you can send it via email, or we could even put it into the community repo. We could make a place for that if that's what people want, and spit it out with Pandocs into a doc, into a, you know, whatever format Janae needs. We could do that.
Cody says, note to self, send Janae a markdown file about how to render markdown. I love you too, Cody.
I have a very small container I'll send you. That'll even further exacerbate this process.
That's funny.
Will it run? Will it run with Kubernetes?
Probably. We can even show you some cool stuff on Visual Studio, which is not my favorite thing to use, but you're on a Windows box. Ooh, we'll show you some cool stuff.
I think cool is subjective.
That's right. It is totally subjective.
I'm glad someone said it.
Got my joke. By the way, if you don't know that Sage is sarcastic, your sarcasm meter is broken.
Right. That's funny.
Have you guys considered doing like maybe a working group hour where you like have the different working groups, like so people can just join, you know, for an hour and talk to the people in the working group? We did something very similar at Aaron with like topic tables, where for like 45 minutes we would have a bunch of Zoom breakout rooms with different topics, and then people could just join. They would be manned by someone. In this case, it would be presumably someone from the working group. And people could just join and talk about, what's going on in the working group or something like, something to that effect. And it's also got a little bit of a social component too. We found that that has worked really well at the Aaron meetings.
Yeah, it's do you mean for each individual one, or you mean kind of for
I was thinking
all
each
of them?
individual one.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I feel like they're all quite inclusive, like if you were to just join, you wouldn't feel like, oh, I'm in the middle of something. They'd be like, what's up? Here's what we're doing, but I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, no, I was just, yeah, I understand like anyone can join the meetings. I was just thinking you might get a little bit broader reach with SaltConf than you might, because I would expect the SaltConf audience would be substantially, maybe I'm wrong, would be substantially bigger than, kind of the Slack and open hour audience. So it's just an idea, maybe get some broader reach.
Yeah, we did the booths last year for the working group, and we had the captains come to the booth, and we had the booth that was open sort of throughout SaltConf, and we didn't get a ton of questions or social activity necessarily. People kind of came and lurked, and that's fine. We had sort of slides just going that gave information, and I think that was useful. We could do something a little bit different this time and try to make it more social. That's probably already on Janae's radar, so I don't have that work of doing something.
Yeah, we'll probably do something similar. Like last year we had a docs booth specifically, and then we had all the working groups sort of shared a booth. So and there are ways that we can make that a little more robust. For context, last year I want to say we had 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks to pull off SaltConf, and
short.
So yeah, I was on oxygen. It's fine. We got there. But now we have all year, and so it's been really great. And I love hearing ideas. We'll have things pretty locked down by mid-August. So if you have more of these ideas, like now's the time to shoot them at me, because SaltConf will be pretty buttoned by end of August, mid-August, which is awesome.
Yeah, and the call for speakers is open. And even if you only have an idea, like Janae said, come with your ideas, and maybe it's not necessarily a talk, maybe that's a booth, or maybe it's something like this, and love to hear about it, because I think that we, two heads are better than one. We can come up with ideas and things that we've done in the past, but we'd love to hear from this group too.
Absolutely. So I've luckily with the switch, nothing changed. So I'm still the head of SaltConf this year as well. So we still have a lot of flexibility. We can do all kinds of fun stuff with it. And like Sage said, like bring us your ideas. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, because when you guys are attending different conferences and you see a fun idea, I get Slacks all the time from people like, I saw this thing, or this was cool, or I enjoyed whatever. And I love it. I love hearing input and thoughts. So, but yeah, so just for context, now until mid-August is really the time for those ideas. So for this year. I mean, besides Mad Libs, because that was golden.
I'm glad I brought something good. Mad Libs, why not?
Right.
I can't wait to get started on that. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. Well, I think we will give everyone 20 minutes back in their day. Thank you everyone for being here and for joining Open Hour. We really enjoy having the time to be able to connect to the community every single week. If there's anything specifically you'd like to review next week, please reach out to us, saltproject@vmware.com. Thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your day. Bye guys.
Happy Thursday.